During the NAIC, I hosted a bunch of friends to come together and play some Pokemon. I thought this would be a great chance to get some practice in for Yokohama whilst also watching a fantastic live stream across the weekend, and we thought what better way to challenge ourselves and have a bit of fun was going to be having a double elimination bracket running as the tournament was going on. So we pitted together what we thought were the 7 best decks at the time, as well as throwing in United Wings, which have been doing well on day 1 of the NAIC stream, to fight it out against each other for a mystery prize. Now, I will say that this was a party atmosphere. There probably are going to be some mistakes on some of these streams. We were also, watching the stream along, having a good time, and probably not putting our all into some of these games. So if there are going to be mistakes, I'm going to try and highlight them in commentary, but it's just going to be one of those things. This isn't necessarily the highest standard of play. It's just something we did for fun over the weekend. Cube Koga is always in the link in the description below, where I will be trying to have even more up-to-date lists than the ones possibly even played in these tournaments. So that's always the best place to check out our lists. Now let's get into some games. So we're working through the losers bracket. Myself on the left playing Gardevoir up against Chien-Pao on the right in the hands of Jono. He's got a decent start. He's got the Frigibacks. He's got Nest Ball now and has a Palkia V lead. I believe I spotted an Ultra Ball in hand, which is why we're seeing the Bidoof grabbed here from the Nest Ball. Seems solid to unlock his hand for next turn. I think he's just lacking Water Energy right now. So it's going to be a pass over to us. And we have, I believe, an Ultra Ball and a few Psych Energies, but we're going to start off with the Panic Worker for 3 cards. This list isn't playing Luminion, the one that I'm piloting, so we were just reliant on the draw 3 here, but we do hit the VIP pass, so I can grab what looks like Greninja and Mew, just to cycle a few more pieces and get more developed on this board. I think with the amount of energy in hand, it makes sense for me to pay retreat into the Mew, get concealed cards in, get 8 cards to try and hit more VIPs, more Fog Crystals, more level balls, that sort of thing. So definitely looking pretty reasonable there. So from a pretty awkward start, we are able to get into this game. Still a little bit reliant on what our abilities can provide, but hey-ho. We can attach retreat, get our Mysterious Tail in now as well. Looks like I'm going to Artisan first, just to thin a Ralts before going for this Mysterious Tail. Ideally, VIP pass is what we're after, so that we can go wide. And we do see the VIP, so got to be feeling good about that. From a pretty precarious start, the Worker really got us cooking. Our abilities were pretty solid there. So we end up with triple Ralts, the Manaphy already developed, which is really nice going into turn 2 for a Chien-Pao player. So everything I could really ask for, and sat on a 7-card hand, also pretty good. Jono Ultra Balls away, Water and Iono, and instantly goes for Bat's Caliber, which is definitely scary. Knowing that now he can get some Super Colds online. Then we're going to see the Luminion. It's going to be for... Surely if he discarded Iono, it's going to be for an Irida here. It's going to be Irida for Bat's Caliber Ultra Ball. Interesting. Bit of a strange line. Because I feel like not having the fish on board and just going for the Iono was still pretty strong there, to be honest with you. You definitely do want to develop the Bibarel. And also is able to artisan out a Frigibacks here. But slightly strange ordering there, especially because you don't really like filling up your board space like this with a fish. But we're going to see 5 cards. Can Jono piece anything together here? I see Chien-Pao, just 1 Water Energy in the discard pile right now. Don't think the Bibarel was too kind to him. And yeah, ends up just passing, which is a real opening for Gardevoir. Whenever your opponent isn't pressurizing, if I get a second dip with this Mew, it's actually insane. I get a ton of refinements. Even if I don't start launching attacks here, I just cycle a ton of cards, start getting more Psychics in the bin, just allowing me to develop my board is insane. Gonna see the Mysterious Tail before anything else. Just gonna grab another level ball, and we'll use that straight away. Just grab Curlier. Definitely a debate depending on what I'm trying to dig for there, whether or not I should tail first or after a ton of refinements. Looks like I'm just lacking Psych Energy, so I wanted to pull things out of the deck so I could do other things first. We end up drawing into some Psychics off the concealed cards as well, so I can refine away Psychic now. Holding on to a couple candies. Not sure if I have access to the EX though. Okay, so we are going to candy up and get the EX in. Also going to reversal energy a Curlier here. And we're going to swing 2 Psych Energy on so I can get a little attack in with our Mew here, putting the Palkia in slightly easier range. It puts us in range with our EX, but also, even if Jono is able to V-Star, it would make it easier for our Gardevoirs later. So, a little bit of prep damage, not the worst thing you can do. Jono's able to thin a little bit here with Nest Ball, is able to bench the Chien-Pao, and has a Superior, but it would just be for 1 water. But to unlock this hand where he's got VIP Pass, and I think another couple of more awkward cards, yeah, another Chien-Pao in hand, that's not ideal. He can just thin this before going for Bibarel to open up his hand a little bit here. It's going to be the Super Cold active, and then Bibarel for 4. We do see Switch. We see Water and Iono now as well. So he can at least come in with Chien-Pao. This guarantees his knockout, right? If he goes Shivery Chill and swing with Chien. Yeah, so we are going to see that now. Let's see, 2 energy, go to the active. And he's just going to hold the hand. Doesn't want to Iono just yet. Saving that for next turn. Not a bad idea, to be honest with you, knowing that Chien-Pao is quite a vulnerable Pokemon and I have the reversal energy. So he's expecting that I take a 2-price knockout, then he can bounce back with Iono. Seems like a reasonable choice, to be honest, rather than digging for other things. I can carry on with my mission here. I've probably got a long turn ahead where I've got a couple of refinements. I've got concealed cards available. I'm going to start things off with Iono for the fresh hand. We'll see where it can get me. Can conceal away a Psychic. I think I draw into Ultra Ball there, so that's looking pretty solid. VIP can go. There's the Arcana. We draw into our other Arcana as well, so yeah, really opening up for us now, this hand. This is like the turn for Guardy, where you just really get an expansive hand developed. And I'll be bouncing back with a 2-prize knockout, pretty much guaranteed here. We have the damage required in the discard pile. We are going to go for our next Arcana for a couple more cards. Looking really, really solid. So we're at the 240. We are just going to instant response on the Chien-Pao. Let's see how Jono can respond to that. He's going to promote his Luminion here. So I guess the idea is that he can take the knockout with Luminion, jump back into the deck, and send up a single prize Pokemon. It's probably the concept he's going for here. Can Ultra Ball and grab Palk V-Star. He probably wants the Luminion back into the mix so that he can possibly Iono more comfortably later on in the game as well. So it all makes sense here. So we're seeing the Irida. It's going to grab Greninja. Probably Superior as well to be safe, I imagine. Oh, interesting. Super Rod. There are at least 2 Chien-Pao in the discard pile. I didn't notice if the third was in there, so maybe that's why we're seeing it. See the Bibarel for 2. I think just a couple Pokemon can Greninja for 2. And then we're going to see the Star Portal. Okay, so that's what he's been setting up. So it doesn't need the Superior. We'll just be responding on this Gardevoir, going down to 4 prize cards and putting the fish back into the deck and throwing a Freaky Backs my way. My hand size is massive though, so it isn't a surprise to me that if I just go for the Palk next turn, because my hand is ridiculous. I'm even eyeing up the boss already in hand. With the pre-damage already on the Palkia and enough Psyche in the discard pile, I shouldn't have too much trouble knocking that guy out. It's just where the rest of my path comes from as we draw for the turn. It's really just about how I establish my, or like re-establish my next Curlier, my next Rolts, that sort of thing. We're able to conceal cards. There's our next Curlier. We're going to Arcana and throw another Psychic onto our next Curlier. And we're going to refine away Level Ball. Our hand is really getting pretty silly right now. The Artisan's not even been removed, so I can even get value for that as I recover my next Curlier and my next Gardevoir. We're going to boss backs here. Try and cause more headache for Jono. He's already gone through a few Iono. And I'm anticipating that I probably have to go through single prizes anyway during this game. So I'm just trying to stop the explosiveness of Jono. Have to remember as well that Chien-Pao lists often do play cancelling clone, so you may feel in a really dominant position, but at some point they can go Greninja cancel double knockout as well. So that is a thing that's always on the table. So removing the Baxcalibur hopefully gives me an opportunity to make it more difficult for Jono to do that. Or it means that once again he'd be forced to Iono, and then I get to keep my stupid hand size. So a few reasons why I go after the backs there rather than the multi-prizer. Jono is going to Nest Ball, then Rod. Can get back the backs as well as Chien-Pao. And can go back to Freaky Backs as well. What are we seeing? We do actually have the Irida, so he, with the recycled backs, he can candy backs again here. It's looking pretty solid. So unfazed by the gust, but at the same time, I'm still fairly okay with this, right? Because it means he hasn't Iono'd me. And that's exactly what I want. Chien-Pao then receives a couple energy cards, and it is just going to be a response KO with Palkia here. So again, I have a few interesting plays lined up. Looks like we're going into the Guardi EX here. We have the Zacian coming down. Gonna see Curlier. We're really in a solid position here. Gonna throw the Iono at Jono straight away. I actually think this is kind of a weak choice because my hand size was so big. And going down, even though I'm using Refinement a bunch here, like Jono already has Bibarel, so I feel like I should just sat on my larger hand. I feel like this is the turn where things just go badly wrong for me, and I basically just make a big mistake this turn where I feel like I basically couldn't lose the game if I play correctly there. I should just definitely sit on the big hand, and just take the knockout with a Shining Arcana Guardi that I recycled with Rod. I'm pretty much guaranteed to have seen that with the hand size that I had last turn. But we kind of go off the rails a little bit here. I basically overthink what I want to do, and I wanted to keep my Arcanas and Refinements around so I couldn't just get Iono'd out of the game at this point. But there's a crucial mistake in this, in that I've damaged Zacian to the point where it's now at 90 hit points remaining. So if Jono is able to come up with a miracle Greninja play, I can lose this this turn. It would take a lot, but it's possible. I don't think I've seen any cross switches yet. We haven't seen the cancelling clone. And I think there's still some superiors in there. So even though I used Iono, it probably doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things because of Bibarel. So it's possible that we still end up losing this game. And really what I should have just done is, if I swing with just a Guardi there, because the Palk was already damaged, I never give up 3 prizes in a turn. Also, if I just turn attach to the Zacian that turn, I stay out of range, right? I'd have enough hit points if I just turn attached to the Zacian to finish off the Palk. The Bibarel gets triple cross switch, which is probably very helpful. We see the cross switcher into the Manaphy from the Bibarel. Then we see the Shivery Chill. So the Greninja is now ready to rumble. And if Jono is able to... oh, he can just Luminion for Irida and cancelling clone. So yeah, he does finish off the game with a 3-prize turn there. Honestly, a bit of a throw from me, where I was basically overthinking everything on my last turn. I was in a really good position. I don't think I should have lost that game, probably. But I ended up swinging with a Zacian to protect my draw power on the bench, when really I could have just sat on the fat hand, recycled the Gardevoir, and had basically no issues. So a throw from me, which actually throws me out of the loser's bracket. And unfortunately for Gardevoir, That's where it ends. Jono progresses with Chien-Pao. It's a pretty nice explosive end of the game where he needed a pretty specific combination of cards, but with the barrel still in play, it was open to him. So yeah, that's the end of Guardy's run. Chien-Pao moves on.